Let us try to understand what happens in a friendship or a relationship. We've seen that when we were in school, when we were in class 12th, many of our friends went to different cities in different colleges. A friend of yours who used to be your best friend now is in a different city, having new friends, new priorities. The person who listened to you, the person who talked to you, the person who, in a way of listening and talking to you, gave you attention, love, this space is being filled once that person has different priorities and has moved on from the location. We do find different ways to fill it because we have our own life and somehow or the other we fulfill that space. But this is in understanding that there is an addiction and there is an de-addiction that has to take place. Supposedly you are in a relationship and something happened that now you cannot talk to each other for, let's say, 15 days, or this is a case of a peaceful breakup, or if you want to go into the negative aspects of it, someone cheated or something or the other. Now imagine you have lived your life with them for, let's say, 3 months, and you shared everything, or 6 months, or an year, or this could be a divorce, or just imagine so much time you've been together and talked at a specific time you've given them daily. Let's say you talk to each other from 7 to 8 p.m. every day. Now your body actually is seeking chemicals. Your brain used to release oxytocin. So we have to understand that it's not just the mind that is going through this loneliness or aloneness or this space or requiring fulfillment. It's also the body which is seeking this and any other chemicals that are involved in the process of when someone looks into our eyes, when someone talks to us, when someone gives us a space. Our body genuinely feels that attention, that respect. So your life used to be like this, okay, heartbeat, 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 heartbeat. But at 7 to 8, there would be, this, even your pulse reduces. Your heartbeat actually, your pulse reduces when you are in and around the environment of your loved ones. Chemicals get released. So there is a specific kind of high that you feel that is of being loved. Your body is craving these chemicals too. Your mind will get engaged to a different person. Your body will find different people to talk to, and then you do try to fill that space, and yet understand that this is just, a heart, and you will and you have in your own life tried to fill this space. So almost like we fill this space in our heart, and it does get filled in a relationship. There is a reason that everyone actually is doing and is involving themselves in the opposite gender, because there is joy. But then there is a consequence to every act. What I wish to acknowledge here is that there is a space in the heart which, despite being in a relationship, a healthy relationship, cannot be filled. This space is and always will be empty. This is a void in our life. This void can only be filled by love of God. So you are seeking to be filled in a relationship. Yes, you will get fulfilled. A part of your heart will feel good because that attention, that touch, that importance, that companionship does fulfill us. We are social beings after all. And yet, there would be a void. I've discussed things with people who are married, and they've told me that even after having kids, even after having a good family life, they feel empty in their life. They do not feel fulfilled. The fulfillment was there, just like any career or anything in our life. Once we get it, we kind of then look for something else. So, if you are in any profession, after 1 to 3 years, you'll start feeling boredom, or you'll get to know many negatives of it. Once you're with some person, that high that you used to feel, it will reduce, and that's natural. That's a healthy part. What we do is we are seeking a high. In a career, we are seeking a high. In relationship, we are seeking a high. In our whole life, we are trying to seek a high. And after feeling this high, there comes a very low. What we are supposed to live in life is that stability, that relaxed state. When we accept boredom, when we accept a life which is not just thrill and thrill, a life that is balanced. So this is not in regards that you should not come into a relationship. This is more or less in regards to understanding that you came into a relationship to fill this space. Even into a relationship, you could not fulfill this space. Now you are not in a relationship with them, or they are not a part of your life, or they passed away. You feel alone. And this is the remedy. This was always the remedy. This was what you were seeking. This can fill it all. But we try to do it in different ways, and then when we do it in different ways, there are consequences also. So now, in regards to you moving on from this dependence of your whole body, mind, heart towards that person, even chemical dependence in a way, you're supposed to create an environment. So, usually people go from one relationship right away into marriage or in a different relationship because the need is such that they just cannot live without. A healthy way would be, to get association of devotees, to actually go to a temple daily, to reach out to a friend of the same gender, to maybe reaching out to therapy if you so need it. You have to create this in different ways. So people get pets, or they just plant trees, or they just go to help other people. They can help by teaching, by counseling, by actually serving food to the people who need it. You can seek them, or the different like serotonin, dopamine, endorphins. You can actually go for them and actually kind of try to fulfill yourself. But essentially, this void, as being stated in the Shastra, this happiness that we crave in our life, which is eternal, ever present, always forgiving, always loving, is and can only be received from the entity which was always there. So, this entity, that's the place, in our heart, the super soul resides, our soul and the super soul. So, only when we change our direction, which is actually looking towards the world, this is your world, and you are looking towards it. Once we move inwards and look towards God, and then when we reach out to God, when we pray, when we chant, when we visualize the form of the God, when we visit to the place of the Lord, so Nam, Roop, Leela, Dham, and we listen to the stories of the Lord, we are now creating and establishing a relationship with someone who was always there when before you were born, after you are born, and then after you will die. Who will not leave you? God, ever present. That person is in Mumbai, that person is in that city. No, Lord is always within you and outside of you, in everything, in every person present. So ever present. You cannot, your person that you love, you can be connected to them through the mobile phone, but there is a distance. So and they will die. So does not mean that you should not be in a relationship. Just telling you in regards to, if you are just trying to move on, the entity which is eternal, always with you, always have been with you, always will be with you, ever present, it's everywhere, forgives you and is loving towards you. This is what we all crave. This is the love that we are craving. That kind of, actually, even this much red here was not right, but this is what we are trying to fill. And a part of it, a spark of it we feel. And that spark is actually that spark which is coming from just that soul that resides in that person, that super soul that resides in that person. So we have to understand that the pleasures of the world are somehow like, it's like inverted. So it's, you can imagine that there is a tree and it's bearing some fruit. So the fruit is here, but a reflection of this fruit is, let's say this is a river, So this is a river, and in this river there is a reflection of this tree, which would be almost, just the opposite of it. And then the fruit is here. So what's happening is that this world is, this material world, the pleasures we are seeking here, they are just a reflection of the spiritual world. This fruit is actually not here. It's just आभास कहते हैं कि आपको यहाँ सुख मिलता नहीं है, सुख का आभास होता है. So this is the fruit which is there. So it is just here to hint upon that which is actually permanent and real. And here all is impermanent and peripheral and temporary, but seems real, and we try to fill it here. If we understand this, we will move towards God. How do we move towards God? We listen to the Gurujan, we listen to Maharaj Ji, and then we try to understand what is the path. Every Guru will be giving a structure in regards to how you are supposed to live your life on 24 hours. How much do you sleep? Then how much do you work? And then how do you do bhakti, and how do you manage your life? Okay, in bhakti yoga, what are you supposed to read? What are you supposed to chant? What are you supposed to do in your life? And slowly, when we make our life in regards, in accordance of Gurujan, in regards to Gita Ji, Bhagavatam, then our life becomes structured as per the structure of someone who has seen it all, who knows. So this emptiness that you're trying to fill can actually never be filled. It has been prescribed by Maharaji that this emptiness, if it increases, it's a good thing. If you're feeling lonely and alone a lot, that's fine. You are only and only supposed to fill it with God. If you fill it with anyone else, anything else, from a position, from watching a show or talking to or getting into a relationship, if this feels from a person, thing, and once it does, you will just run for it like anything, because your body will become dependent, and never will this thing be or person be eternal, ever present. So we are supposed to seek it in God, and this needs practice. Chanting the name, visualizing the form of the Lord, sitting in the temple, looking towards the Lord, knowing the stories of the Lord, glories of the Lord, talking to people who are connected to the Lord, listening to YouTube, bhajan and pravachan, connecting to music. You are supposed to create this relationship and fill this emptiness if you wish to fill it, because we will not be able to just be empty. It's very difficult. Maybe some of you can. Once you fill it with God, you are filling it for the very purpose everything arose, because this space here, as such, there is no scope of this getting filled by anything and everything that you do. It will just be temporary, peripheral, and impermanent. So, in your aloneness, when you feel alone, fill it with, in some way or the other, with the glories of the Lord, with the name of God, with the roop of God, with the form of God, with association of devotees, going to the temple, offering food to the Lord, offering water to the Lord, offering a flower to the Lord. Create that relationship, because if we don't, then we just seek that very love in people, and people are variable, they will change. And once we see that everyone will pass away or will change, or actually everyone is also selfish. Once two people come together, there are two selfish motives also that get filled in a way, because compatibility is there, because both of them feel happy with each other. But there comes a point when there is a change. To be with each other and stay committed throughout the change, seeing the change in the other person and then accepting, adapting it, that's why marriage comes in. If you don't get married and you go into a relationship, there is always a possibility of breaking off, and then that possibility has now been creating after marriage also. Understand, and even if you wish to come into a relationship, try to be first in a relationship with God, Gurujan. Once we do that, then we can be stable in a relationship. We'll find the right partner if we wish to be in a relationship, if we want to fill our life in that way. So understand these things. You can create an environment in which you can be social, you can be teaching, you can be engaging in your old friends of the same gender. You can just understand that it's not just the mind but the body also that needs fulfillment in this manner. And essentially, the main thing that we are seeking in every activity is love of God. The happiness, joy, and peace, the surrender and person and entity that we want to always take care of us is God. So think about this, move into this direction. My sincere prayers and best wishes.